from Nashville, Tennessee to Grand Rapids, Michigan about 6 months ago. And one of the things I told myself is I wanted to get involved with the community. And so I had looked up some nonprofits, but I had made 0 phone calls. So then I started with ECU and they kept preaching network. So I said, all right, I'll call them. So I called the lady and she gave me another number and I called that lady, had a good conversation about me being on the board and thought it was a great idea. That was the end of it. Well, then I get back on an ECU call and said, well, network with the people that you know, and so I'm like, all right. So I called her back and said, hey, let's set up a phone call so that we can talk about what I do and what I'm looking for. She said, great. Well, come to find out, she worked for an employment agency, an hourly employment agency, but they had a division that did training and development. So she said, oh, well, I got to connect you with Nate now that I know what you do. And so I met with Nate about 2 or 3 times. He's the managing director of the organization. And then he said, you know what? I need to get you in front of the 2 owners. And so I met with the 2 owners, and I met with the 2 owners the day after I interviewed with another company, a manufacturing company here in town. And the interview went fabulous. I mean, it was just fantastic with the manufacturing company. So when I went into this interview, I was comfortable and relaxed and practiced, and all of the stuff that I'd learned at ECU just kind of flowed out of me, I guess. And so I'm going to read you a real brief part of the email that Janice, who is one of the owners, sent back. She said, we were so energized by our conversation. Your experience, expertise, and education all offer tremendous value to help people and companies thrive. So that's what she wrote me back after the interview. So then after that, I signed the contract. And so now I already have 5 projects that I'm working on. And I'm still continuing, like Reagan said. I got 2 or 3 phone calls yesterday and the day before from people that said, hey, we wanted to interview you, kind of thing. And so I was very polite and didn't say no, but I said the same thing. Well, okay, it's been 3 weeks since you've talked to me. So what's changed? Have you found somebody? And anyway, so the manufacturing job that I had done a great job at, well, I found out that they had an internal candidate that they went with instead of me, and it was like very frustrating instead of being honest. So that the things that I picked up from ECU, I interviewed and taught interviewing skills for years and years, but the little small details that I picked up from ECU made a tremendous difference in my confidence and my comfortability, whatever you call it, when I went into the interview. And I think that's what really made the biggest difference, is because I came across as a consultant, as a facilitator, not somebody desperate for looking for a job. So that was kind of how the story went, and it was, I've done the same thing as Reagan. I probably applied for 400 jobs, and I've probably been on 60 interviews from the beginning all the way through the end, and really none of that clicked until I found this position. And this is really a dream job for me. It's exactly what I want to be doing, and the salary is $50,000 more than what I was making in my previous role. And maybe even potentially even more, because I can continue to expand with other clients. So yeah, just great. My dad used to say half of success is showing up. And so I believe in that and resilience. But the other thing that I really liked, and one piece of advice, I guess, if nothing else I'd give folks, is don't count how long you've been out of a job. Count the number of things you do to move towards your next one. And that's how I kind of stayed positive and stayed out of the negative mindset. Is I said, I don't know when my last job ended, this to start. All I know is the next one's coming soon, and so I kept doing the things that would lead me down that path. So that's my piece of advice: is don't count the days, just count the number of actions you take on a daily basis.